What's up, guys? We are live. It's the J Talks Hoops podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and I figured I'd go live because one, it's been a minute. I wanted to do this every month, but I just haven't had the time. And two, we got a baby coming in like 5 weeks. So I have no idea when the next time I'm going to be able to do this is. So I figured let's get one more in before the baby's here. So we got some questions. A lot of people submitted them on Twitter. And before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the Bulls. They got a big game tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. We should be able to tell a lot about the Chicago Bulls based on how they come out against the Sixers tonight. The plan should be run, run, run. The Sixers got athletes. They got that backcourt. Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe's amazing. He's fantastic. But Joel Embiid looks like a statue out there. So when Embiid's out there, you got to run. And his backups, I mean, we know Andre Drummond doesn't want to run. Adama Bono, we know he doesn't really want to run. So the Bulls, their whole priority today needs to be to run. So enough of that. Let's get into some of the mailbag questions some of you guys dropped here. Let me pull up Twitter over here. All right, first one that we got. Somebody, can we see the dog? So you guys know I do my walk and talks every day. I just got like 90 minutes that I'm walking my dog, and I was like, you know what? I should make these 90 minutes a little bit more productive. I don't have time to sit down and do podcasts like this very often. So I just do my shit while I'm walking my dog. So sometimes you'll see him kind of hanging out in the background, but most of the time he's just in his own world doing his own thing. Let's see if I can get him over here. Hey, Drax. Drax, come here. Drax, do you want a treat? There it is. Come on, buddy. Come here. Come here. The people want to see you. The people want to see you. Come here. Come here. Let's show you off. Oh my God, you're getting heavy. Oh my God. This is Drax. You can see he's a big, heavy pit bull who's not like being held like this. Say hi to the camera, Drax. If you are somebody who thinks pit bulls are dangerous animals, you're a fucking idiot. I got no time for you. He is the sweetest, most gentle dog in the world. I tell my wife all the time, if anybody did make the mistake of breaking into our house, Drax would be absolutely no help. There'd be nothing coming from him. He's the most gentle dog in the world. So yeah, that's Drax. He's along for all the walk and talks, like I said, just in his own world, doing his own thing. So next question up here, we got from Twitter, Abe, the OG Bulls fan at Share Bulls Love. What's up, Abe? Always see you commenting on my stuff. Always appreciate it. First off, congrats on expecting a baby. Hope all goes well. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Question: who will be the Bulls closer when Kobe returns? Giddy, Kobe, Vooch, Io, Modest. Will it be by committee? Does the team always need a go-to closer? Well, first of all, you know Kobe White's going to be out there. You know that when the game is on the line, when it's the fourth quarter and the Bulls need a bucket, you know that's going to be Kobe White. As far as the rest of the team, it's probably going to be by committee. I mean, the way Josh Giddey is playing right now, he's definitely going to be in the closing lineup. We saw some times last year where they didn't necessarily always close with him. But this year, the way he's playing, they're probably always going to close with him. So there you go. You got Giddey, you got Kobe. Those are two guaranteed in the closing lineup. The rest of it, I mean, I would assume Modest Buzelis, regardless if it's a hot night for him or not, I would assume he's going to be in the closing lineup because they need Modest Buzelis to be really good. So there's your three. As far as the other two go, that's going to be by committee. That could be a three-guard lineup. We could see Trey in that spot. We could see Io in that spot. That's going to dictate on who's hot or not, and also what we need. If it's a closing lineup where we need more defense, then you're going to see Isaac Okoro, possibly Patrick Williams in that spot. It's going to be nice to see Kevin Huerter in that spot. I love Kevin Huerter's game. He just makes winning plays over and over again. We see him plays over and over again. We see it. We've seen it every game this year so far that Kevin Huerter, even when the three-pointer isn't falling, that was my biggest misconception with Kevin Huerter. I thought he was just a shooter. He's so much more than a three-point shooter. He comes out there. He makes three-point shots for sure, but he's got a little juice on the ball. He's got some passing chops to him. He holds his own on defense. So he's a very real possibility to close games. And at that five spot, it's probably going to be Vooch, but there will definitely be lineups where it's Collins. There might even be some small ball lineups. We've seen Patrick Williams have some early success here with that five spot and small ball lineups. So yeah, as far as closing groups go, that's what I would expect. I'd expect Kobe, Giddey, Modest for sure to be in all closing groups once Kobe's back from injury. Then the other two, it'll be kind of by committee and just playing the hot hand. So Shout out Abe, thanks for submitting that question. Next up, we got the Hoop panel at Unstoppable AX. What do you think about Jalen Tyson and Ryan Rollins so far as most improved player candidates? I love this, a non-Bulls question. Tyson and Rollins are killing it, man. I really didn't see the Jalen Tyson thing coming at all. I watched a lot of the Cavs preseason because I like watching Donovan Mitchell. I think he's one of the more fun players in the NBA to watch. And I didn't really see Jalen Tyson carving out a role for himself in the preseason. The guy who I was really impressed by in the Cavs preseason was actually Tyrese Proctor. He looked like that classic case of a guy who teams might have overthought it in the draft because he's a little bit older, because he spent a little more time in college and he slipped to the Cavs, but he hasn't gotten any run yet. I think he might even be in the G League for them right now. But Jalen Tyson, he is filling a void for that Cavs team. That Cavs team is so deep that they got to be the favorites in the East. I know they're not playing well right now. They're ranked 23rd in offense right now. Last year they were number one. This year they're averaging like a little over 114 points per game. Last year was at 123, but we did get word Darius Garland might be back on Wednesday, and that's going to tell us a lot because a lot of people like to hate on Darius Garland. A lot of people like to throw out that overrated label. They like to say that he's a scrub, that he's not that good. Man, if he comes back and their offense goes from middle of the pack right now, like I said, they're 23rd to top five. Last year, they were number one with him. That shows you the value that Darius Garland brings, even if it doesn't always show up on his individual stat sheet. So Jalen Tyson, he's a piece of that Cavs team that it's surprising me, man. I'm surprised that that kid is showing something because I really didn't expect anything from him. And Ryan Rollins, that's another guy where he came out of nowhere. Like Bulls fans, we love to say Modest Buzelis is going to get most improved player. Ryan Rollins has him beat for most improved player far and away. Ryan Rollins came out of nowhere, and he's one of the better players on that Bucks team. And that Bucks team is actually a lot of fun to watch. That was actually my daily video today. Was just talking about that game winner Giannis had yesterday, and just how good the Bucks are and the style that they're playing, and how fun they are to watch when they're playing like this because they're taking Giannis and they're surrounding him with five shooters at all times, and they're telling him to create everything. And it's a lot on Giannis's play right now, but he's handling it pretty nicely. So, yeah, Ryan Rollins, Jalen Tyson, they both have major candidacies for most improved player this year. I would give the edge to Ryan Rollins right now. The caveat's going to be you guys know how the NBA votes on this shit. Wemby's probably going to win it. I mean, as ridiculous as it is, it's going to be even more ridiculous than that year that John Morant won it. But that's just how the NBA votes on these awards. Is they always like to reward that star to superstar leap, and we're seeing Wemby do that right now. So if it was my pick, I'd give it to Ryan Rollins. I'm not going to be shocked if Wemby ends up getting this. Let's move on in the mailbag here. Next up, we got Easy at Easyland. Once again, all these questions are on Twitter. So if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, what are you waiting for? Go hit that follow button. And then give all these guys a follow too, because these guys all love talking hoops. They're all pretty knowledgeable. Damn, Easy submitted a long question here. This is like three tweets here. Easy, goddamn. All right, so uh, I don't even know where this starts, man. Uh, I'm just gonna read them in a row, and try to answer them one by one, I guess. All right, so Ed Easy here. He lists Kobe White, Zach Collins, Io DeSumo, Kevin Herter, Nikola Vucevic, Javon Carter, Dalen Terry. They all are expiring contracts, and it's a poor 2026 free agent class. Newsflash: all free agent classes are poor now. Guys don't hit free agency anymore. They just sign the extension and demand a trade later. We will have to move them, even though we like what this team's doing early this season. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to, Giannis looks like it's impossible, but who knows yet? Giannis is impossible to trade for. Nobody's going to trade for him. Zion, I'm still on the train, and Jabari Smith. All right, so basically, it seems like Easy in a very long three-tweet question is saying we have a lot of expiring contracts. We got a lot of cap space coming this offseason. We have control of all of our picks. We'll rather go after Giannis, Zion, or Jabari. Honestly, Giannis is impossible, and Milwaukee's not trading Giannis to Chicago. Their fans would riot. Zion, I feel like an idiot when it comes to Zion Williamson. If you guys go watch my New Orleans Pelicans season preview, I was overdosing on skinny Zion Kool-Aid. I don't know what I was thinking. He just announced today he's out for at least 10 days with a hamstring strain. Doesn't matter how skinny you get, apparently. If your hamstrings are made out of tissue paper, you're going to keep straining them because we've seen this injury a million times from Zion. I really expected Zion to be like a top three MVP candidate this year and the Pelicans team to win like 45 games because I knew they didn't have any point guards, but I thought we'd see point Zion like we saw, what was that, 2 years ago when they pushed the Lakers in the play-in. And then I like Herb Jones, I like Trey Murphy, I like pieces on their roster, but the Pelicans are trash. So as far as the Bulls trading for Zion, for Zion, I'm all the way out on that. Jabari Smith, I liked him, before Houston gave him that big extension. Now I don't want to be on the hook for that big extension if I'm the Chicago Bulls. So if you're asking me to trade for Giannis, Zion, or Jabari, knowing that Giannis is totally off the table, I'm just going to say let's not do that and let's just ride with what the Bulls are doing right now because it's fun. The Bulls do have a pretty decent pick situation. It's looking like that Blazers pick could convey this year because the Blazers believe they're 4-2 right now, 4-3 after last night's game actually. But they're looking like they could actually be a playoff team this year, so that might actually convey because I believe it's top 10, if not top 14 protected. So if they make the playoffs, Bulls to get that pick, and then we have control of all our other picks. So thanks for the question, Easy. Thanks for submitting it. I know I butchered it. It was just I was trying to decipher three tweets in a row that didn't really make sense. Let's move on. Let's keep this pushing. All right. Next up, we got my boy at local Bulls fan. What's up, Alejandro? One of the best follows on Bulls Twitter. If you guys are not following a local Bulls fan, make sure you do. He handles like all the graphics for Bulls on Tap. He does a really good job over there too. So yeah, go throw him a follow. He's a great follow. This one I remember when he submitted this one, it made me laugh because he just wrote Luka Doncic. I replied, "Is this a question?" He said, "I just want to hear you talk about Luka for an hour." So I could talk about Luca for an hour. Honest to God, I could. Luca is a player who he drives me insane, simply because when he plays, so much fun. I can't say anything bad about him when he plays. And this year, he's in shape. I've probably done three Luca videos already on how being in shape is helping him not just last throughout the game, but it's helping him get to his spots quicker, get to the more efficiently, give a second effort on offense, give a second and third effort on defense. Like skinny Luca it's awesome. We love watching it. But the man drives me crazy, and the reason he drives me crazy is the sitting of games. That's always going to drive me nuts. Last night he sat out for load management, which dude, you played like three basketball games this year. We're 2 weeks in. Why do you need to sit out last night's game? That's insane. I can't believe the Blazers lost that game with Luca and Austin Reeves sitting out. That's not a great sign. And he missed a bunch of games early in the season. What he missed? 3 games, and it was a sprained finger. And I know I'm going to sound like a boomer, but guys, I am a boomer. I'm turning 36 pretty soon here. I come from the old school days. I come from Kobe Bryant popping his pinky back in place on the bench and still playing. I come from Kobe Bryant tearing his right rotator cuff so he finished the game shooting left-handed. I come from Allen Iverson getting elbowed in the mouth, his mouth filling with blood and him swallowing the blood so nobody knew he was bleeding. He had to go get stitches in his mouth after that game. I come from an era of tough fucking basketball players. So when I see a guy like Luca sitting out for a sprained finger, sitting out for load management, it drives me crazy. You heard what Michael Jordan said in that Peacock little halftime segment that he's been doing this year. You heard the load management one last week. And, he brings up a good point. It's like back in his day, they seem to appreciate that the people who go to the games, not the people like me and you who are watching it, they care about us, but back in the day, the people who actually spend their hard earned money to go to the games, Mike never wanted to let them down. He didn't want to be in a situation where, a single father was saving for a month to get Bulls tickets to bring his son, who's a huge Michael Jordan fan, and then he brings them and Michael Jordan doesn't play. That never happened with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was very cognizant of that. And guys like Luka Doncic, they don't seem to be cognizant of that. By the willy-nilly nature that they just sit games out. They don't seem to give a shit about the fans. So that's what drives me crazy with Luca. The thing that used to drive me crazy with Luca was being out of shape, but he's corrected that. When you're a professional basketball player, you should never be out of shape. That's just my 2 cents on that. And then the constant bitching to the referees, which he's gotten a lot better at this year. Granted, he's only played like 3 games, so it's a very small sample size, but the games that I've watched of him this year, he has not bitched at the refs nearly as much as he did before. So shout out to Alejandro for getting me to rant about Luca for a little bit. He's so fucking fun to watch, guys. He's so fun to watch. He plays with such a chip on his shoulder, but he also plays just with like an unparalleled joy. Like when he's out there, you could tell that he's having fun, and you don't see that in the NBA very often. So that's my beef with Luca, man. We know you're having fun when you're out there. Just get out there more, dude. Just play more basketball. So shout out Alejandro, local Bulls fan, thanks for submitting that question. Like I said, give him a follow, guys. He's a great follow. Next one up, we got at Samity Yee, another great follow on Bulls Twitter. If you guys are following him, make sure you go do it. Um, he asks, "What have you been enjoying with both the Bulls and the NBA?" With the Bulls, I've been enjoying the depth, man. I did not. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I didn't believe in this team. I didn't see the vision. I didn't think that you could have a team full of. I think I'm stealing this from my boy Don on Twitter. I think he said it the other week, but I just didn't think you could have a team of 80 overall players without a 90 overall player to make it all work. And the Bulls are proving me wrong this year. There's nobody on this team. I mean, Josh Giddey's playing fantastic for sure, but there's no superstars on this roster. There's nobody you would be like, I'm building my team around this guy. There's just 10 really good players. So I've enjoyed seeing that from the Bulls. They've caught me by surprise. Trey Jones has caught me by surprise. He shouldn't catch me by surprise. I've been watching Trey since high school. I was on the Horns Over Hoops podcast earlier today, and I mentioned to them, I live like 2 blocks away from where Trey Jones grew up, where Trey and Tyus grew up. I watched both of them play in high school. Their dad used to come into one of the bars that I worked at. We used to talk all the time. Gary Trent Jr.'s dad, he also used to come in all the time. And I remember he would come in when Gary Trent, his rookie year was, or when Gary Trent Jr.'s rookie year, when he was riding the bench in Portland. And he would tell me, he was like, man, just if they give him a shot, if anybody gives him a shot, I'm telling you, he's going to go off. And then I remember I think was it the play-in or no, not the play-in, the bubble. Was the bubble the first time Gary Trent Jr. really got some run with that Blazers team? And I remember thinking like, ah man, I wish I still worked at that bar so I could tell Gary like, damn dude, you were right because once Gary Trent did get a shot, he was making buckets. But anyways, Trey Jones, sorry, has been one of my favorite things about the Bulls to watch this year. Him and Kevin Herter. If you'd have told me Kevin Herter and Trey Jones would be my favorite guys on this roster, even 3 weeks ago in the preseason, I'd have told you were crazy. But I just like both of them. I like the style they play in. They play winning basketball. And both of them, they do things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. And Kevin Herter, especially, he does a lot of sneaky stuff, little pocket passes, timely cuts to the hoop. So, Samity, to answer your question, what I've been enjoying most about the Bulls this year is not only the depth, but just watching Trey and Kevin Herter play because they're smart basketball players. There's a lot of times in past Bulls years where we didn't necessarily have smart basketball players out there. I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but you guys could probably guess who we're talking about. As far as what I'm enjoying with the larger NBA overall, this is going to shock some of you guys because I've been branded as a Wemby hater, but I am enjoying the way Wemby's playing this year. I'm enjoying kind of feeling validated because a lot of the times people told me I was crazy for criticizing Wemby. And all I said is this kid has all the skills in the world, all the talent in the world. He just has to play closer to the hoop. He has to stop playing like an 8 foot tall LaMelo ball. I said it over and over again. This year, you're seeing him turn it around, or not turn it around because he's always been putting up numbers. But this year, you're seeing him just kill teams. Like he looks like a killer. And it's because he's not taking threes. He's not handling the ball above the 3 point line as much this year. They're getting him closer to the basket. They're getting him in his spots. And part of that is maturity on the Spurs part. Part of that's maturity on Wemby's part. Part of that is just playing with competent guards and competent players. So that's one thing I've been really enjoying with the NBA this year is watching Wemby play. That Suns game the other night was fascinating because they didn't even guard him with a lot of size. They basically just stayed in his chest and made sure that every second he was out there, he was feeling someone on him. Like there wasn't going to be any space. He wasn't going to breathe. And that's something interesting to watch going forward. Are more teams going to go a little smaller against Wemby? Like the Thunder, how they went Caruso against Nikola Jokic and just rely on those guys being quick enough to let Wemby get by them and being quick enough with their hands. Where if Wemby starts dribbling with that high dribble he has, because he is 7 foot, 7'6" now or something he grew to. Are they going to use that against him? And is Wemby going to have the wherewithal to just post those guys up and shoot right over them? So the Suns, they did a really good job. There was a lot of Dylan Brooks on him. There was a lot of Ryan Dunn on him. Like a lot of guys who should be too small to guard Wemby, but they were just staying in his chest, staying physical. And that might give some other teams a blueprint here because Wemby has looked unstoppable every game this year except that Suns game. So that's one thing I've been really enjoying in the NBA this year. What else have I been enjoying in the NBA this year? It's early. Man. This is like for a lot of teams, this is kind of the honeymoon phase. I've been enjoying watching the Blazers play because they were my bold pick to be a playing team this year to finish in the top eight of the Western Conference. So I've been enjoying them. Been enjoying the defense they play with. disappointed by how they played last night, but I'm sure they'll turn that around. I've been enjoying watching the Celtics suck because I fucking hate the Celtics, so that's been pretty fun. Um, been enjoying, like I said, the Bulls, the Pistons starting to kind of figure it out. Cade had a rough couple first games, but he's starting to put some things together, starting to look like Cade Cunningham again. That's been fun to watch. When Luca's played, that's been fun to watch. There's a lot that's fun to watch in the NBA this year. The Thunder looking unstoppable. My comparison for the Thunder is the 92 Bulls. The 91 Bulls beat the Lakers in the finals, and they didn't rest on their laurels. They came back for that 92 season, and there are people who will tell you the 1992 Chicago Bulls would beat the 1996 Chicago Bulls in a 7 game series because that 92 squad they were at the peak of their powers. Jordan was at his athletic peak. Pippen was at his athletic peak. Horace Grant does not get enough credit for how good he was. He would match up very well with Dennis Rodman in a playoff series. Like that team was just good and they were hungry. This Thunder team, they kind of remind me of that, where they won the title last year. They don't look like they're resting on their laurels this year. They look like they're coming for another title. They look even hungrier than last year. So shout out to Samity for submitting that question. That's what I'm enjoying with the Bulls and the NBA overall. Next one up, we got Chicago Bulls Insight at Jersey 23 teams. Mid-season, barring any unforeseen injuries, are the Bulls still between 1 and 4 in the Eastern Conference? That one, I don't know. I'm pretty positive about this Bulls team. I've been really positive with my narratives with this team since the start of the season. I like the way they play, but the East is going to get tougher, guys. The East is going to get tougher. We're seeing the Sixers. They're off to a hot start. I didn't see that coming at all. I had no idea VJ Edgecombe was going to be this good right out the gate. I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be this good. It's kind of crazy to see how good he is out the gate like this. Tyrese Maxey, he looks phenomenal. He had a down year last year. A lot of people talked a lot of shit. If you guys go right now, if you find in my archives the Philadelphia 76ers season preview I did like a month ago, you will see there's a Sixers fan in the comments. He was telling me we need to trade Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey ain't it. We need to build around McCain. We need to build around VJ Edgecombe. Tyrese Maxey shutting a lot of people up this year. He's playing phenomenal. But the Sixers, they're going to be a problem. I'm really interested to see where Paul George fits in. If he plays at all, maybe they just medically redshirt him all year because that might actually be better for the team. Kelly Oubre is playing phenomenal. Joel Embiid in his minutes restriction. So I mean, when you carve out the top 4 of the East, obviously you got to start with the Cavs. You got to start with the Knicks, and then you get into a little bit of a gray area. Can the Sixers keep this up? Can uh, can the Magic kind of turn it around? You are seeing them turn it around a little bit. The narrative around the Magic really sucks right now. Like a lot of the national people who are attacking Paulo, it's all really, really weird. Especially you guys saw the Kevin O'Connor stuff with his podcast. He's one of the worst members of the media. I don't understand how people pay him to talk about basketball. But his clip where he said Paulo was missing things between his ears, like that's all really weirdly coded the way that he's wording stuff, and I don't hear him talk about certain other players that way. And Paulo's been phenomenal. So Paulo, he's at an all-time high rim rate. He's at an all-time low three-point percentage. Like there's a lot of advanced stats that say Paulo's actually playing great, even if some of the counting stats don't always look that great. So you count on the Magic to turn it around. Keep in mind, adding Desmond Bain was a huge piece for them, and it's going to take more than 7 games to work that guy in. So the Magic are struggling right now, and people are counting them out of the East. But I guarantee you, end of the season, they're going to be in that top 4. Pistons are probably going to be in that top 4. And then after that, that's kind of where I would slot the Chicago Bulls. I realize they beat the Magic and they beat the Pistons already this year, but I just think game in, game out, it pays to have a superstar like Cade Cunningham and Paulo Banchero when it comes to the regular season, just having that guy you can always rely on. So if I had to do what I would predict the Eastern Conference would look like at the halfway point, like let's say at All-Star break, 'cause that's what Chicago Bulls Insight is asking here. At the midway point, will the Bulls be between 1 and 4 in the East? By the time we get to All Star break, I think the East will look something like Cavs, Knicks, Pistons, Magic, and Sixers. I think the Sixers will find a way to hold on to the spot, and then the Bulls will be right there. So I think the Bulls will be in that 6th seed. I'm going to have them over teams like the Hawks. That Trae Young injury is going to be really interesting. We're going to find out, is Trae Young a detriment to this team, or is Trae Young like what makes this team go? Because if Jalen Johnson starts getting the ball more, Dyson Daniels starts getting the ball more, and they start winning in these, what is it, 2 months that Trae Young is out, That's going to say a lot about Trey Young. That's going to say a lot about the Hawks. But overall, I still think the Bulls are better than the Hawks. I think the Bulls are going to stay better than the Celtics. They've been bad this year. What other teams? Bulls will stay better than the Pacers. So the Hornets, like all those kind of teams. The Heat are better than I thought this year. That new offense they're running where they just don't do any pick and rolls. That's fascinating to watch. We'll see if that changes at all when Tyler Hero comes back. But if you're asking me to predict the Eastern Conference standings at the All Star break, I'm going to say the Bulls will be about 6 right there. Shout out in the comments here. I see in the comments on the live stream, Horns Over Hoops, asking me who I got tonight. Of course, I got the Bulls tonight. If you guys haven't listened to the podcast, I recorded with him over the weekend. He dropped it today. You can find it on YouTube, uh, Apple Pod, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We talked about the Bulls start, obviously, but then we dived in to the whole gambling situation and everything that's going on with the NBA scandal wise. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure you go listen to that. I had a lot of fun on that podcast. It's one of the better Chicago Bulls podcasts out there. So let's keep this mailbag pushing here. Next up, we got another one from Easy Land here. This one's a lot more concise. What does this 5-1 Bulls start change your expectations with the team? Hell yeah, it changes my expectations with this team, man. If you guys followed me all off season, I was down on this Bulls team. I did not believe in this Bulls team at all. I thought they were going to go 39-43 for the third straight year. I thought they were going to be a play-in team. I thought they were going to lose to the Miami Heat in the play-in again, once again for the third straight year. I didn't think this team was going to be good. I know we are only 6 games into the season, and a lot of narratives can change. You really shouldn't judge teams based on how they play the first, 10 games of the season. You need a bigger sample size than that. But overall, I'm enjoying what this team is doing right now. And I think this team is better than I thought coming in. A lot of people are grouping this run into last year's 20-5 run. I don't know if you can do that because I do still believe that March basketball is largely useless. Like a lot of shit that happens in March just doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things in the NBA because by March, a lot of teams are tanking or a lot of teams are just resting guys for the playoffs. So I'm not going to tie this start in with that 20-5 finish last year, but the way they're playing this first week is really impressed me. And like I said, the depth, the fact that they can go 10 deep, 11 deep some nights, and they can just run teams out the gym. That's what makes me think, this could be for real. And the Bulls really actually could be a legitimate playoff team this year. So shout out at EasyLand for submitting that question. Yeah, I definitely think that the Chicago Bulls are much better now than they were even better than I thought they were 3 weeks ago. So let's see here. What other questions do we got? We got a couple more in the mailbag here. Aiden asks, "Who do you have tonight?" I got the Bulls, man. It's a common question. I'm always gonna say the Bulls. I mean, that's just the type of fan I am. Some people like to root for losses. There are people right now. This is something that's driving me nuts because the Bulls are 5-1. They've been fun to watch, and like I said, we're not gonna make any grand declarations based off the first week, but there's a lot of Bulls fans where right now we should be having fun because we're 5-1. This team's fun to watch. They play hard. It's the type of team you want to root for. This team is not a title team, but it's the type of team that's really easy to get behind, really easy to root for because it's full of guys that people just counted out. People counted out Kevin Herter. People counted out Trey Jones. People counted out Jalen Smith, Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro. All these guys have been counted out for various different reasons by multiple NBA teams and they're all succeeding on the Chicago Bulls right now. So they're a team that you should be rooting for, but there's a section of the fan base, very large section, that in spite of it all, in spite of the 5-1 start, in spite of the fact that this is kind of a fun team to watch too, they want it to fail. Every win, they're making excuses. They're bringing up, the amount of open threes that the opposing team missed and whatever. And all that stuff comes into play for sure, but just enjoy the wins, guys. And then last night you saw when college basketball is rolling early in the season, it's a really hard time to be an NBA fan because a lot of people don't actually care about what their NBA teams are doing. They just start pleading for their team to tank. So you saw Peterson last night on Kansas. He had a big game. You saw uh, AJ. He had a huge game at BYU. You saw the Arizona kid going off. I mean, I even saw Carmelo's kid going off in Syracuse last night. So I woke up to my timeline being full of a lot of Bulls fans whose team is 5-1 right now. They're pretty fun to watch. A lot of Bulls fans saying, I can't believe that we're doing this and we're going to miss out on these generational guys. Man, it's early in the college basketball season. It's too early to be calling these guys generational. They all could be nice prospects, but right now, man, just have fun watching the Chicago Bulls team. So I forget how I got on that tangent because it was just Aiden asking me who I got tonight. Oh, I was saying I got the Chicago Bulls tonight, and I'm the type of fan I'm always going to root for the Bulls to win. I don't like it when the Bulls lose, man. It's not fun to. I invest a lot of time watching the Bulls. I'm lucky enough to have a wife who understands that I'm going to watch the Bulls if they're on. So I invest a lot of time watching them. I kind of want to see them win, even if it's quote unquote meaningless games, even if they're not true contenders, even if, this is one of those things where maybe they should tank to get a superstar. As long as they're winning, I'm gonna have fun watching them win. So, um, real quick here, let's see if we get any more questions coming through. Oh, look at that! Lamelo Ball is out for at least another week. Damn. There's a lot of injuries early in the year, man. Anthony Edwards might come back tomorrow. Let's hope he does because the league is missing a lot of stars right now. Obviously, Halliburton's out. Obviously, Zion. He just announced he's out for 10 days. Luka's been missing games left and right. LeBron's out right now. Jason Tatum's out right now. Anthony Edwards hasn't played. So we need these guys to stay healthy. And LaMelo Ball, I'm not his biggest fan by any means, but he's a fun guy to watch. He makes the Hornets a league pass team. So rest up, LaMelo. Let's hope you get back a little quicker here. Here we go. We got another question here in the chat. What are the Bulls going to do to try to slow down Tyrese Maxey? That is a good question. If I knew the answer to that question, I'd probably be on the Bulls coaching staff. That's going to be a tough one for the Chicago Bulls tonight. Tyrese Maxey is playing out of his mind right now, and now they got Jared McCain back. He's going to be out there cooking them, and he's probably going to make a TikTok dance about it after. So it's the Bulls are going to have their work cut out for them tonight in the backcourt. You think you're going to get some Trey Jones. We did see Trey Jones. He kind of had a problem guarding Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson isn't nearly as explosive as Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Maxey isn't nearly as crafty as Jalen Brunson. So Maxey might be a better matchup for Trey Jones than he was for Jalen Brunson. I think hopefully we see Io DeSumo. I haven't got any word on if Io is actually playing or not tonight. But it's going to take a committee. It's going to take a lot of guys. You want to minimize the amount of time that Josh Giddey is on Tyrese Maxey. And then when you got somebody on Tyrese Maxey, you need to ask who the hell is going to guard VJ Edgecombe because that guy is a freak athlete. He's the rare athlete where the NBA, these guys are all like the top 3% of athletes in the world, the best of the best, the most athletic guys. I mean, to be, between 6'4" and 6'8", like most of these guys are, most of them can run a 4.4 to 4.6 40. Most of them can jump 30 to 40 inches on a vertical. That's insane level of athletes. These guys, if they did the NFL combine, they would all test out of this world. They're the best athletes in the world. But I'm saying is VJ Edgecombe plays in the most athletic league in the world, and he's so athletic that he stands out amongst hyper athletic dudes. So Chicago Bulls are going to have a Tyrese Maxey problem tonight for sure. They're going to have a major VJ Edgecombe problem, and you just got to hope that their guards are up for the test. This is where our depth is going to come into play. I could see our guards getting into foul trouble. And then maybe you got to throw Dalen Terry out there for a little bit. You're not going to get much offensive juice out of Dalen Terry, but you get 6 fouls and you get a lot of effort on the defensive end. So as far as to answer your question, who do I think is going to check Tyrese Maxey tonight? I don't think any one person is going to check Tyrese Maxey tonight. I think it's going to take a lot, just committee. So, uh, guys, see you in there. The chat. Emed is Io back? I don't have any word on if Io is back yet. Let me do a quick search here. See if the Bulls beat writer Jared has said anything about it. I saw him tweeting that Io was getting shots up earlier, but yeah, there's no new news as far as Io DeSumo goes as of right now. He's still got some shots up, and he's a game time decision. So we're about 2 hours out from game time today. Listed as a game time decision. Kobe White's obviously still out. Zach Collins is still out. The Kobe White situation has me a little bit confused because yesterday was supposed to be his reevaluation day. So we got no news from them as far as the reevaluation goes. They said they pinned this on the calendar, like they let all of us know he's going to be reevaluated today. They let us know weeks ago. The day came and went, and not a peep about Kobe, which that kind of sets off some alarms in my head based on how they handled the injuries in the past to Lonzo and Javante Green and just guys who they'd always be like, oh, we'll reevaluate in 2 weeks, and then you would never hear word of that reevaluation, and then you'd find out about a surgery later on down. So I'm worried about Kobe. We haven't got any new news on him. Hopefully, we get him back soon. Some people are worried that when Kobe comes back, he's going to mess up the chemistry of this team. I don't believe in that at all. I think Kobe is additive to this team. He's not a guy, as much as I love DeMar DeRozan is going to pound that ball for 15 seconds while he tries to either get a shot or make a decision and get a teammate open. That's not Kobe White. Kobe White's a lot more decisive. He makes quick reads. He either decides he's going to shoot or he makes a cut. He gets the ball going. Like he's not a guy who's going to pound the ball. So people are worried about what Kobe's going to do to this team coming back. I'm not worried. He's going to be very additive to this team coming back. Um, yeah, I would agree with you, Emed, that low key we do need him because he is our shot creator with Kobe out. I mean, I don't know if you could say that Io is our best shot creator with Kobe out with the way Josh Giddey's been playing this year because Josh Giddey he's looked great shot creation wise. The thing about Giddey last year is he couldn't shoot off the dribble to save his life, and we've seen him make threes off the dribble this year. I don't know if I saw that once last year, so we've seen him do it a couple times. And then you heard him say that he realized he had to quit settling for that floater, and he couldn't have been more right. You just take two extra dribbles, you throw your shoulder into him. You're a big dude, Giddey, you're 6'8" and now he's at the rim. So you're seeing him do that more. You're not seeing as many floaters from him. I would love it if he got like a really consistent floater. You know how Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, like some of these guys have consistent floaters. I would love that if he got that. He doesn't have that necessarily in his arsenal. It's like a 50-50 shot when he shoots it. So it's nice to see him take the time to actually get to the rim and try to finish. So yeah, the latest injury report, the Sixers still got Paul George out. We'll see if he ever plays again. I don't know. They got Dominic Barlow out. He's not a big loss for them. They're pretty deep. And the Bulls, like Io's still questionable. So we'll find out pretty soon here. I mean, within the next hour, we should find out some uh some Io news here. All right, we just got another question here on Twitter. Do you want the Bulls to go after John Morant? Hell no, I don't want the Bulls to go after John Morant, man. And this has nothing to do with John Morant as a player. As a player, I think a lot of his downfall is being greatly exaggerated. A lot of people they're throwing out, his frequency of getting to the rim is down. This is down, that is down. I think a lot of the reason that his frequency getting to the rim is down is a coaching thing. I think the coach they're telling him you need to be a weapon with your jump shot. You need to take more jump shots. You need to keep the defense honest. Where when he first got in the league, they were like, dude, go to the rim every time. So I think he needs to get back to that. I think he needs a coach that's going to get him back to that. He doesn't seem too fond of playing with this coach right now. But he just doesn't fit in Chicago. We have enough guards. We have Trey. We have Josh Giddey. We have Kobe White. We have Javon Carter, even though he never plays. Dalen Terry. Kevin Herter plays. Like we are a guard heavy team. I do not think we need to give up assets to go chase John Morant. And I get it. John Morant's ceiling way higher than any of those guys. If John Morant ever locked in, top 10 player in the NBA. If he ever locks in, top 10 player. I don't know if he's ever going to lock in. The quotes this week, they've all been really weird. He doesn't seem to get it. Remember when he got suspended for the whole gun thing? And then his first game back, he was doing finger gun celebrations. Like he just doesn't quite seem to understand. So yeah, I don't want the Bulls to go anywhere near Josh Giddey. I heard somebody float the Bulls and the Bucks as the two destinations for him. Couldn't disagree more with that take. Let's see here. Emad Giddey's a poor man's Luca, not very fast, but great at change of pace, getting to the rim. Agreed, except Luca's one of the best shot creators off the dribble, and that's still, although Josh Giddey's gotten better at it this year, that's still, he's nowhere near Luca's level. Luca's one of the most special shot creators I've ever seen. Like the shots that he gets for himself, that's the thing with Luca is being in shape is helping him a lot. But what was impressive is this man was fat as hell last year. This dude was so out of shape last year, and he still found a way to get to his spots. He still found a way to get the shots he wanted. So being in shape now, he's just getting to those spots even more efficiently. So I've heard the poor man Luca thing with Josh Giddey. I kind of see it, but I also just think outside of the scoring, I think Luca is a far more gifted passer than Josh Giddey too. Like Luca's eyes are always up, and to this day, my biggest pet peeve with Josh Giddey is he gets the rebound and his head goes down and he just trucks till he gets to the rim on the other side. Where if he looked up, he could get that outlet pass out more. He could, he could make things happen. If you guys are following me on Twitter, you see after every game, I was saying like what last time the Bulls were 2-1, and then I'd share a highlight from the 21-22 team. Did it for 3-0 when they got to 4-0. When they got to 5-0, I couldn't do it because the 21-22 team didn't go 5-0. And then they went 5-1, and the 21-22 team was 5-1. So shared the video of them. But if you watch that video that I share every time, because I love that 21-22 team, that 25 game sample with Lonzo Ball, the thing you notice is Lonzo Ball gets the ball, does not dribble. Like he gets the rebound, he gets the steal. His first instinct isn't to dribble. His eyes are up and he throws that ball like a quarterback halfway down the court, hits Zach LaVine in stride, hits Alex Caruso in stride. Like it's shit that I have never seen before. So that's what I want more of from Giddy. Less dribbling, more eyes up, more trying to make things happen by pushing the pace with outlet passes. The AI just submitted a chat in here that says Giddy versus Luca. I'm not even going to entertain that. There's no debate Giddy versus Luca. Now we got somebody else asking, would I trade for Zion Williamson if I was the Bulls? No, I would not. That was my favorite offseason trade. But I've kind of, it's not that I've given up on Zion. I think all the injuries and all the time that he missed so early in his career seems to have messed with his game, messed with his timing a little bit because he's healthy this year, he's in shape this year, but it's just not the same. You're watching these Pelicans games, he is not dominating. He is not the force that he once was. He's still a really good basketball player. He's still a star, but he is not the dominant force that he was when he was at that peak. Like that season where he carried them to the play-in and they would have beat the Lakers in the play-in if he hadn't got injured in that game. Like that version of Zion might just be gone forever, which is scary because he's still really young. So, yeah, you're asking me if I want the Bulls to trade for either John Morant or Zion. The answer is a heavy no. And honestly, if you look around the league and you try to play the trade game and you try to think like who's going to come available this year, I don't know if there's a name that I would necessarily want the Chicago Bulls to target because Giannis is not going to come available despite what anybody's going to say. It's just not going to happen. And even if it did happen, they're not trading him to the Chicago Bulls. They're not trying to see him 4 times a year, 2 times on their own home court, having their fans go crazy and cheer for him. They're not trying to get the experience that the Mavericks have had since trading Luka Doncic. They're not trading him to the Chicago Bulls, even if they did trade him. Um, Elsewhere around the league, Luca, not Luca, Ja, Zion, I don't want them to trade for him. There's an interesting case that the Mavericks might have buyer's remorse and try to trade Anthony Davis soon. I heard somebody floating that earlier. I would never want Anthony Davis on his current contract with the Chicago Bulls. A couple of years down the road, if he doesn't get that extension, he wants to sign here as a free agent, do a little homecoming to finish up his career on a much nicer number. Then we could talk. And some of the other names that are available, like Rudy Gobert, he's probably going to be available, I would guess. You never know with the Timberwolves. But my point is, there's just not a lot of attractive trade chips in the NBA right now that I want the Bulls to trade for. I'd rather see them ride this year out, see what they got with all these different pieces, see if they're actually going to make a legit playoff run. Because right now, 5-1, it looks like they're going to be a playoff team in the East, but a lot could change. And then see how these dudes perform in the playoffs. Because that's my big sticking point with this roster is you guys are seeing me be really positive about the Chicago Bulls after an offseason of being so negative about the Chicago Bulls. I still think this is a really good regular season team. If there's a playoff game tomorrow or even a play-in game tomorrow, I am not betting on the Chicago Bulls. They need to prove me wrong in high pressure situations before I really believe in this team. I believe it's a good regular season team that can get you 45 wins, get you a top 6 seed. I don't trust them in playoff games. Playoff games, we saw it last year with that Miami Heat play-in team or play-in game. The physicality ratchets up and you're just not getting the calls that you're used to getting. Guys are just in your jersey a lot more. There's less room for you to move. The game slows down, the game gets ugly, and the Chicago Bulls wilted under that pressure. That same team is back this year. They made no changes. So, yeah, I think this is a better regular season team this year, but I don't think this is a team that can make any playoff noise necessarily because I need to see them prove it. So that's one reason I don't want them to make any moves this year is I want you to go into the playoffs, see what you got, see what guys really wilt under the pressure of a 7 game series, and then make your roster decisions based on that this offseason when you have all the cap space, when you have control of your picks, when you have a little more flexibility. Emed, we kind of look like last year's Pacers, not as good, but lots of depth. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. The thing that the Pacers have that a lot of people kind of seem to have forgotten about is Tyrese Halliburton bailed them out so many times in the playoffs last year with ridiculous shots. The shot against the Pacers where he hit the choke symbol, ridiculous shot. Like he hit what 3 or 4 game winners in tight games in the playoffs last year that won the Pacers the games and helped propel them to the finals. The Pacers were a really good team, but without Tyrese Halliburton hitting those shots, they don't make that run. So yes, the Bulls played the same style as the Pacers. They very clearly copy and pasted it, and there's a lot of similarities. I need to see the Bulls have somebody who has those kind of balls in big moments to make those shots before I try to believe in this team at all in high pressure playoff situations. So let's wrap this up here. Let's see if we get a couple more questions coming through here. Appreciate everybody submitting questions. Like I said, I wanted to do this like once a month, but when you got a pregnant wife, when you run your own business, like you just don't get the time that you're used to. And the wife's gone tonight; she's out of the house for the night. So I was like, you know what? Let me do a mailbag. It's been a minute, and baby's coming in about 5 weeks here, so it's probably the last time that I get to do a mailbag for a while. So, um, is there any young player that has really impressed you this year that you didn't see coming? There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of guys like Keontae George over in Utah. I didn't see this coming at all. I didn't think he was going to be anything. I watched a couple Jazz games last year, and I just thought he was going to be an inefficient guy and not really able to do much. He's doing a lot, and the thing that he's doing is he's creating shots for his teammates. You're seeing him get 10 assists, 8 assists, 9 assists. Like he's racking assists up and he's scoring 20 points every night. So if I had to say a most surprising young player, I'd probably say Keontae George right now. Um, Thinking some, I like to go with some of the bottom of the barrel teams when I do these assessments because they're the ones who really need their young players to pop. So I've kind of liked what I've saw from Alex Sarr over the year with the Wizards. I've only watched like two Wizards games this year and not full games, just checked in now and again. But when I've checked in, I've liked what I've saw from Alex Sarr. He seems to be growing. He seems to be getting a little more confident. It's kind of weird that you don't hear anybody talk about Reese Shea, who is struggling this year. He looks like he's regressed a little bit for the Hawks, but you always hear people talk about being disappointed with Alexander Sarr. So I don't quite get that, but Sarr is a good, fun young player. Every time I watch the Pistons, Ron Holland is fun to watch. The guy just wants to fight everybody, and I find that incredibly entertaining. What other young pieces that are surprising me right now? Some of the guys on the Hornets, they're rookies, Kalkbrenner and Zion James. Had no idea those guys were going to be like ready to play right now and ready to actually produce at an NBA level, and both of them are doing it. So yeah, those are some of the young pieces that are surprising me. I'm not surprised by Buzelis at all this year. I saw this leap coming. Anybody who watched him last year knew that he just needed the opportunity. I hope that the Bulls continue to give him more on-ball opportunities. Let him be a ball handler in the pick and roll. Don't just make him the roll guy. Let him find his groove as a ball handler because there is something there with the way that he handles the ball at his size and the shots that he's able to create. If we let him do that a little bit more, then maybe we'll unlock some passing chops with him. So I think that was the last question that we got submitted here. Yep, that's the last one. So thanks for tuning in, guys. This was on TikTok, so we got like wow, 300 people checked in for this TikTok. I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate everybody checking in. I'm gonna post the video. You can obviously rewatch it on the TikTok feed later. I'm gonna post it on YouTube after this too. I'll share the link on Twitter. If you guys aren't following on Twitter, make sure you do. The handle is the same on all of them. It's J_talks_hoops. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. If anybody has any idea how to grow your YouTube following, let me know because honestly, I have no idea. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. And if you guys ever, you ever want to talk hoops, just let me know. I'm always down to talk. Just follow me on Twitter. That's the easiest